Let's get into today's NFL mailbag. All of our questions coming from Chat Sports subscribers here. Let's dive in then to the questions here, beginning with I Got Game 12. Should the Bills sign Von Miller? If he's available, yes, of course. If the off-field stuff is fine, yes, of course. I think the question here, the problem here, is that like every single NFL team is going to want to have Von Miller in some capacity. Kind of like J.J. Watt, where a lot of the NFL had interest there. There would be quite a bit of money in terms of going after a Von Miller if he hits the open market. The RMB Bros. Should the Niners draft Rashawn Slater to save money and re-sign cornerbacks? It's a good question. In this hypothetical, it means you're letting Trent Williams leave and you're paying like a Richard Sherman and a Jason Verrett to come back, right? That's fine. I think with the way I think the draft is going to go, you'd probably have a better chance at getting one of the top two corners than you would at getting one of the top two offensive tackles. So because of that, I might go the other route, but I think it's perfectly valid if you want to go that route instead. From Jake F., can Liam Eichenberg play right tackle? He was a left tackle at Notre Dame. In general, I believe the switch to left guard is easier, but left tackle to right tackle probably a bit easier than right tackle to left tackle. So I think he could. I think a lot of it depends on what you need on the offensive line. There might be someone who makes more sense to you. Like if Tevin Jenkins is there, just take him instead. But yeah, I do think Eichenberg could make the shift from the left side over to the right side. Kyle Bayliss, who could be the biggest steal in free agency and the draft? Good question. I'm going to go Carl Lawson, edge rusher, Bengals, as biggest steal in free agency. And in the draft, the biggest day 3 upside guy I've scouted so far, Andre Cisco from Syracuse. He might bust, but his upside is super intriguing. From Mike Rowland, Ertz has been the third best tight end in the NFL the past 5 years. Why is he going to bring in only a late round pick? Because this past year, he was not. Ertz was not the best tight end on his own team last year. That was Dallas Goedert. So yes, Ertz used to be a top 3 tight end, but he's not anymore. And his contract is kind of hefty for a no longer top 3 tight end. So because of that, I'm not even sure he gets traded at all. I think he might be cut. And if he does get traded, like you said, it's not going to be for very much. He's simply not the guy he was in his prime, and also he's coming off of injury. Now, I threw some shade at producer Sam plenty today, so what I want you guys to do is help me make it up to him. Go follow producer Sam at Sam Brown CS. We'll put that link for you guys in the live chat as well. We're trying him to 1,000 followers. Help him get that 1K mark there. He's at 915. So go follow producer Sam on Twitter at Sam Brown CS. Get him to 1,000 followers, and we'll make him feel a bit better after all the shit I threw at him earlier today. We'll check back in on this number, by the way, later on in today's video. From Jason, 2-part question. If my Chargers make the playoffs, what seed do you think they will be? Probably a wild card. Probably the Chiefs division to lose still. And how far can they go in the postseason? That last part, I got to see what they do in the offseason. Because they got needs on the offensive line pretty heavily and even some defensive pieces. So let's check in on that second part after free agency ends and the draft too. Izzy World, would the Cardinals trade Murray for Watson? I think they should. Because I think what you're hoping for Kyler Murray, who, by the way, wasn't that great last year, especially on third downs, is he becomes a Deshaun Watson caliber player. Just go get Deshaun Watson. Now, I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury would ever do that since he wanted Kyler Murray in the first place. And also, Kyler Murray might say, you want me to play quarterback for Houston? I'm going to go play for the A's and play baseball. All things that are a concern there, and why I think a trade probably doesn't end up happening. It's Pyron. How much money per year would Jason Verrett get if he signed somewhere else besides San Francisco? Good question. Do you trust the health? Like, I think you could get like 7-ish, 8 most. Like, that's a good question because I don't trust the health of Jason Verrett. I don't think he can stay healthy. And because of that, I'm not sure just how much interest there's going to be at a significant long-term contract. So we'll see about that one. From Michael, Sam Darnold to San Francisco is heating up. 1-10. He's on the Niners roster in 2021. Super chat, by the way. Thank you, Michael. 4? Is that might be too high? I think 4. I don't know where Darnold goes. And I know the Niners might want to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, but is Darnold really an upgrade? I don't know that he is, so I'm a little bit hesitant on that front. Another super chat from Jarek now. Should Carolina trade to get Justin Fields or trade back to get Mac Jones? In general, teams never trade down and then take a quarterback. Because if they think Mac Jones is their future, they're going to take him at 8. That's more of a Madden-style move than anything else. As of the two options, I would prefer going up to get Justin Fields. I like Fields a lot more than Mac Jones. I think Fields is the second-best quarterback in a very, very good draft class. So of those two, give me Fields. From Evan, Patriots trade Stephon Gilmore. If so, where and what do they get him? Hashtag love the show. Thank you, Evan. It's a great question. I don't know if Stephon Gilmore will be on the Patriots this upcoming season. 1 year left on his deal, wants to get paid, coming off a downish year, injured as well at the end of the year with a quad issue. So I don't know where he goes, honestly. It's probably going to be somewhere else. I think there will be a lot of interest, but I think there's going to be some hesitation there as well. So I'd say like a round 2 pick might make the most sense. I don't think they're going to get a 1 for him now. Last year, maybe. This year, probably not. From Jonathan, are the Chiefs going to go sign Carlos Dunlap? Maybe. Dunlap released by the Seattle Seahawks on Monday. There's going to be interest in him. He was coming off a great year, bounced back in a major way after leaving Cincinnati. He had a $14.1 million non-guaranteed base. Seattle was never going to pay that right. Seattle wants to bring him back, but it has to be at a cheaper cost. So because of that, the Chiefs are probably not the answer to where Carlos Dunlap will sign because the money is going to be the same for KC and Seattle, and Dunlap probably just goes back to Seattle in that case. So make your predictions for me. Where will Carlos Dunlap sign? I think Seattle's still in play. I think Jacksonville, Urban Meyer, could make some sense as well. Make your predictions for me in the comment section. Where will Carlos Dunlap sign? From Sports Fan, what do you think about Seattle signing Todd Gurley if he's cheaper than Chris Carson? On the right side of 30 and could do well, reuniting with Shane Waldron. Which Todd Gurley am I paying? Early half of this year, Todd Gurley, or back half of this year, Todd Gurley, who, if we're being honest, completely fell off the map. Like, he was not good down the stretch. So I think the reuniting side actually does make sense. I think he will be cheaper than Chris Carson. So from that perspective, I am intrigued. I'm also just going to say this, is that after week 9, I watched Todd Gurley get 36 carries for 94 yards in 6 games. That was it. So I'm not paying him much because, yeah, he might be on the right side of 30 for now. His body is pretty darn beat up. From Burnin' Spades, best defensive back in free agency for the Atlanta Falcons. Good question. I think you got to go safety. How about you take someone who your GM is very familiar with? How about Marcus Williams? GM Terry Fontenot comes over from New Orleans. You need a safety in a big, big way. I think Marcus Williams could make some sense. Money, of course, is also kind of tight right now for that team. From Optimus FLY, where does Melvin Ingram sign? Could he go to the Raiders, maybe? Could he reunite with Gus Bradley? That could make some sense. Does a team like the Seahawks or like even Denver or the Chiefs go get a 1-year cheaper deal for him at nearing the back end of his NFL career? I don't think Ingram is going to command a major contract. So because of that, the options are almost all 32 teams. From Terry McLaughlin, not McLaurin. How about Hassan Reddick to the Broncos if they don't keep Von Miller? Interesting idea. I think he fits what Denver wants as a stand-up edge rusher in that Vic Fangio scheme. finally had that breakout year, right? Also, only 1 year of production. I wonder, in the end, if Denver's path, if they don't keep Von Miller, which I'm not sold that they're going to let him leave, I think they'll keep him. John Elway, who is not necessarily in charge anymore. He's kind of took a self-described promotion with less responsibility. Awesome move by Elway. They love drafting edge guys. Could they take one early if they let Von Miller leave? Unfortunately, folks, no one's followed producer Sam yet, which is pretty disappointing. So go hit him up on Twitter, @SamBrownCS. Let me personally make sure this link gets put in the live chat here, because I don't want producer Sam to miss out anymore. Go get him to 1,000 followers. You Broncos fans out there, remember, producer Sam runs our Broncos channel. I put the link in there right now. Twitter.com/SamBrownCS. So if you want Broncos coverage, if you have questions and you want to ask him, feel free. He's a pretty smart guy. Go follow him on Twitter @SamBrownCS. From a cash, Browns cutting Richardson and signing Shelby Harris and Carl Lawson. I don't mind that idea. Richardson and Harris are similar-ish prospects. Harris will hit the open market. Denver does not pay him since they already tagged Justin Simmons. I love the idea of Carl Lawson in Cleveland. I think he'd be a great fit opposite Myles Garrett. So if the money works, yeah, I like that idea. From Ethan McKenna, thoughts on Kellen Mond of A&M to the Patriots or Saints in the second? I don't like Kellen Mond. Like, if you just watch the Florida game, if you only watch his best throws, he's a first-round prospect. He hasn't actually shown consistency, though. Like, the Saints could be able to get the most out of him, maybe. The upside, I guess, exists. But I would be pretty surprised if Kellen Mond, who has always struggled with consistency and accuracy and making the right throw at the right time to the right area, is going to suddenly break out in the NFL. I don't think it's going to happen. So round 2, I don't like that one very much. From Carter to the Cardinals target this offseason, hey, you guys already got J.J. Watt. You are fine. In terms of other options, cornerback. Got to find some help there. Nicholas Pinnell, Ertz to Seattle, rate 1 to 10. In a trade, 1. In free agency, if and when he's cut, 3? 4 maybe? I think the Colts are also a team to watch out there for Ertz. From Johan, which team will Alex Smith land with after Washington cut him? I think Jacksonville makes a lot of sense. They want a veteran mentor to pair with Trevor Lawrence, the assumed number 1 overall pick, and Urban Meyer coached him at Utah. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that'd be a logical fit there for Alex Smith, and especially given the presence of Trent Baalke as well. Like, there's a lot of connections there in Jacksonville. Excuse me. From Big Play Ja, Falcons take Javonte Williams. That is the UNC back. If he's there in round 2, or especially in round 3, which I doubt, yeah, I'm on board. If Harris and Etienne are gone, Williams is my number 2 back, and he might go even earlier than that. I like that fit. In terms of getting a lead back who can run over guys, fits the Arthur Smith-style scheme, I think Williams is a good fit for the Atlanta Falcons. From Crispy Boy, James White to the Packers as a new pass-catching third down back. Should have won Super Bowl MVP. I agree. She should have. It was stolen by Tom Brady or whoever it was. Yeah, it was Brady. I like the fit. If you lose Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon becomes your new lead back. I like putting James White on that team. So, Crispy Boy, I like that idea a lot.